All right. So today we're gonna be making a shell for some exterior in here. We add Polito. Let's do a shell for the hospital in here. Doesn't look complicated at all. So we're gonna enable select and move. So know exactly which one is the geometry. Selection and then take the name of the drawable. We're kind of done. We don't need codeblocker anymore. We know exactly which one is the shell. Yep. So this is the one. We go to materials, save all textures. You can do the shell without having the textures, but it kind of visually tells you where everything is, but it's not necessarily that you have the textures. So extract the textures in a directory somewhere where you're going to be having the drawable 2, the XML. So right now click on the export XML, and in the same directory right here you're going to have all the I'm just going to move all the images in the same folder. I like to keep stuff clean in here. Alright, so now we kind of done with the RPF Explorer 2. So get the, I trust that you already have Blender installed, and Solums, it's already installed. If you haven't, you cannot move on from here. So you need to install Solums. One way to check that you have Solums installed, you go to add-ons, and it should be in here. If not, if you don't, it doesn't show up in here, just Google for it. Go to the GitHub, get the zip file, and install it. You cannot move on from here. All right, so we now have the .ydr.xml. Just drag and drop it in Blender. Your stuff is going to look different. Have custom colors in here, and we will go to the second from the right. Click on that, but it says material preview and textured. And I'm also going to be changing the focal length to 75, just so it looks a little bit more natural. But the moment we get to do the shell, we have to switch to a shorter focal length so we can actually be inside the shell and do what we need to do. All right, so we now have selected the shell in the list in here, and I'm going to be holding Alt on the keyboard, and I'm going to be using the middle button mouse to move up and down. And you should see here what it says right orthographic. If you do not see that information, go to statistics and text info. So this is the window right here, the button that activates this option, and have at least text info and then statistics. You can put the other stuff in here exactly the way I have it. So we now know that we're looking at the shell from right in orthographic view. This is important because we need to make a cut across the building. So then go to click on this icon where it says wireframe, select the building, press tab on the keyboard or enter edit mode. Make sure you have edge selected, number 2 on the keyboard right here. And actually you don't have to be wireframe, but we can just do it this way. It just looks a little cleaner, that's all. So now with the mouse over on this area right here, press K on the keyboard and then click and move the mouse all the way around, all the way on the other side, uh, and press Y. That should snap the knife tool on the y-axis in a completely straight line. It's important. You'll see later why. And look at right here. When I press C on the keyboard, it says cut through. You need to have that enabled. All right. So now with the mouse on the other side of the building, left click, and then press enter. And you should have a edge, a line across the building all the way around, and it should be selected. If it's not selected, that means you have not enabled the edge in here. So you got to do that. With the edge selected, press hold shift and press D, and then press Z to move the edge downward. So we duplicated the edge, and we're going to move it on the Z-axis on the lower side, so we know exactly what the edges are right here, like that. And then with that still selected, press P on the keyboard and do separate selection, the first one on top. And we cannot get it out of edit mode. Go to object mode, select the shell itself, click the building, and press H to hide it. We're now looking at the edge that we just cut from the mail building. So, but probably asking why. That was the reason for that. It's a lot easier to create a shell when you don't have to look at the building itself, and it's going to make a whole lot more sense in just a minute. And just be patient. Right. We now know what the outlines of the shells is, and we're going to be creating a plane. Press N on the keyboard. So you see the toolbar in here, and go to, actually you don't have to go to object, add a plane. We're going to call it interior shell, like that. Then we're going to grab the Z-axis. We're going to hold Control, and we're going to snap it to where the edge is, like that. The snapping screen looks like that, like this for me. The vertex, active, and exclude non-selectable. You can set your, this is where you have to click to activate it. If it's not enabled, that means if it turns a different color, that means it's enabled by default, and you don't have to hold Control, and it will just snap. But I like to have Control too over the snapping, and I like to hold Control while I'm snapping. It makes things easier for me. All right, we're gonna be rotating this plane that we just created, the interior shell, to match the orientation of the building. All right. So with the plane selected, press R to rotate and hold Control, and the shell should rotate. No, press Z. So let me do it again. Select the plane, press R, and then press Z to tell Blender to rotate it on the Z axis only, and then hold Control. And you should see this one right here. It should show 45 degrees. And that's pretty much how you kind of match the orientation. Then we go to edit mode. We select one of the edges, the left. Let's do the left side. Then we switch from global to normal, like that. And then grab the x-axis, hold, move it along the axis, hold Control. If you do not have, well, it should snap. Remember what I said earlier. We gotta snap the edges to match the edge of the plane to match the edge that we extruded from the building, and keep repeating. So we're gonna match this one. Then we're gonna match this one. And then we're gonna match this one. Again, I'm holding control and I'm moving the edge along the its axis. So we now have a tiny thing in here that we need to create a cut for. So we enter number 3, press number 3 on the keyboard or select face, which is that button in there, and then hold control and press R. That will create an edge with the loop cut. Then click and move the mouse to the right while holding control, and that will snap it to exactly where the tiny hallway or wherever the entrance is. Then we switch back to edge select mode. Select the edge that's going to be extruded on the x-axis. So with this edge selected, press E to extrude and then press X to extrude along the, actually we're still in normal mode. Press escape. And we already press this E, that means the edge, it's still valid as in it's about to be extruded. So grab the Z axis because we're looking at a normal, we're not looking at the world coordinates, and move it along the Z axis, right, while holding control. That will snap the edge exactly to match the way the building, the base of the building is. And now press number 1 to select vertices. Select the vertex in here, right here in the corner, and then this one and this. Hold Shift and select the other vertex in here. Press J to create a to join the vertices, and then press number 2. Hold Shift and select those two edges, the red ones and red and the white one in here, and hold Control and press X. That will dissolve the edges. It's very important to keep the shell clean, as in not have triangulation that doesn't need to be there. Later down the road, you will see why that's very important. Don't forget to save. If I can only find my stuff in here, like that. We now have more or less the base of the shell complete. We can delete this one. We do not need anymore. Right click. Remember, this is if we enable it, you will see this is the building and this is the edge, right? Like that. So we only need to delete the edge. And now we can select the shell, and then we go to Object, Apply, All Transforms, and then Object, Set Origin to Mass. All right. We can move it up and down. Go to select enable the view from 75 or whatever you have, set it to 15. And then zoom into where the floor for the interior is, right, like that. We can go back to global, and then grab the Z axis, hold Control, and snap it where the door starts, or whatever this is, the window. So we kind of create the floor for the whole thing. With this selected the way it is, with everything snapped into place, enter edit mode. Press number 3 to select faces. Press I. Kind of zoom into. You need to know exactly how much you're gonna have to insert in here. So press with the mouse over, like right here in the right corner down. Press I. That means inset. And then kind of move the mouse away and kind of eyeball it as in where the shell is going to end. So we create a little bit of offset for the shell itself, because the moment we have the geometry from the door and the windows and all that stuff, we're going to cut into the shell. So with the inset selected, hold Control and press I to invert selection, and then press delete and select faces like that. We now have a little bit of we create a little bit of space between the exterior and what's going to be the interior. Press number 2. Actually, we can do it exactly the way it is. Press number 3. Select those two faces. Press E to extrude and Z to limit the Z on the Z axis, and move the mouse upward until you see the ceiling of the exterior popping through. And that's pretty much the, actually I think I did it wrong. There you go, like that. Sometimes you have to tap Z twice to actually move it on the Z axis. Now, with the top, any face selected, press A to select all, and then hold Alt on the keyboard and press N. And you should see this menu where it says flip. We need to see the shell facing inward, because the exterior faces has to face outward, the normals, and for the interior needs to face inward, because that's exactly what the player is going to see. And if you do not flip it, it will just be invisible. You need to see, because right here where the texture is going to be. All right, so let's adjust the faces a little bit so we kind of match the width of the exterior. So select any of the faces. Be aware of what I'm looking at, and try to match the same thing, because it's going to piss you off when you try to match something and it's not going to look exactly the way it looks for me. So we switch from global to normal. We have one of the faces selected. You will see the Z is going to be this way, and if you select a different face, Z would always kind of point inside, right? So we can press G and Z and slowly move the face towards the shell. When it starts to pop through, just move it back a little bit and click. And repeat with every single one of the faces. So G, Z. If you hold Shift, it will move a lot slower, just so you know. So G, Z. Like that. G, Z. Repeat with the ceiling. The floor is not, this is where, depending on how the collisions are in the game, the vanilla collisions, and the collisions for this building itself, it can go lower, it can go higher if you plan on moving it up or down. Or usually you want to be flush with the access area, as in where the door is, right? So if I have to enable wireframe mode, which is Shift and Z, I will know exactly where to stop if I can only find the door in here, right here. I know the door starts right here, and if I move the scene so I can see where the door is, I know I'm pretty much where I need to be, as in how high from the door. All right, disable that. Hold Shift Control Z and hold Shift and press Z. That will make you exit out of wireframe mode. And we're now going to be cutting the holes for the windows into our shell. We're gonna take the geometry that make up the windows and the doors, and we're gonna be using that to uh, cut perfect holes into the shell. So let's do that. Select the building. Make sure you're not in edit mode in here. You're in object mode. Select the building, then enter edit mode because we need to select the faces that make up the windows and the doors. Press number 3 on the keyboard. Actually, let's do something else first. With get out of edit mode and then object mode. With the building selected, go to object. Let's see, where is it? It's not in here. So that means we still need to be in edit mode. So with the building selected, press tab or enter edit mode, and then press number 3 on the keyboard or enable mode face. And then press A to select everything, and then face and triangle to quads. That will simplify the geometry a little bit, and then that was going to help you not click as much as without having this enabled. So we're going to be doing object mode, then you go to modifiers, and then you go to welds. Type in here weld, and distance you're going to put 0. I don't know if this is going to be default as it is for me, but if it's not, put 0.1 centimeters in here and apply. One other thing you can do, clear custom split normal data. You can do that, and then you can do object shade flat. So that would clean up the geometry a little bit and make it easier to visualize what the plans are in here. All right, so we now have the building selected. Enter edit mode, and kind of start selecting the window or the glass. You press number 3 to enable face selection. Hold Shift and kind of go around and select all the faces that make up the windows and the doors, like that. Go all the way around. Make sure you've selected everything that needs to be selected. That's part of the window and the doors. Perhaps we should have done this before creating the edge, because we just gave ourselves a little bit more work by creating tinier segments in here. All right, looks like we got everything. So look at the faces. It should be 39 out of 3,187. And press P, selection, and we now have a completely different geometry that's separated from the shell, from the building itself and the shell. So we can go out of object mode, select select the new geometry that's being created from the windows and the doors, right? You can double click on it and create, you can call it cutter. You will see later why. And then hold shift and drag it outside the collection. So it's next to the interior shell, but not part of the same hierarchy with the clinic model. Now, if you hide the building, you will see that what you have left is the shell itself and the windows and the doors. That way, you know exactly what everything is, as in world coordinates, and you don't have to look from inside to do the cuts. You can do the cuts from outside. All right. With select the cutter in the listing here. Enter edit mode. Press tab or select the menu that says edit mode. Press number 3 to select all the faces. To select the face selection, press A to select all the faces. Make sure you're in global mode. Make sure you have individual origin. This is where you click right here. And then with the faces selected like that, go to face, extrude individual, extrude faces along the normals. And you move the mouse, the mouse inward. And if you have to look from inside, so let me do it this way, right? So we already, I undid that just for you to see what's going on. So with all the faces selected on the cutter right here, number 3, with the cutter, we're in edit mode. I move the view inside, and then face, extrude faces along normals, and then I move the mouse inward, and that will extrude the faces inward inside the shell like that. And then you don't have to exaggerate, you don't have to go too crazy. You can just put -50 in here. It's plenty. Then while you still have this selected, press A. Hold Alt and press N and flip. Select flip. And we now know that the faces that we just extruded will point the right way because we're going to be using Boolean to cut the windows into the shell. All right. So with the cutter selected, make sure you're not in edit mode. You're in object mode. Go to modifiers. Select the interior shell. Add modifier type Boolean. BOOL. Then, when this window shows up, make sure you have difference selected like that, exact, and get the eyedrop and click the cutter. Either do it in here or you do it in here. It doesn't matter. Blender will work with both of them. And after you do that, we'll see you have a new geometry, and then you do apply, and then you select the cutter, and you can just move it out of the way, and you will see that you have new geometry going into the shell that we just created. We're not going to be using it that way, but you will be using the gaps that were created by the extruded geometry. So select the interior shell, enter edit mode, and then the faces that you just created should still be selected, and then press delete and select face. Now you just created the all the holes that you need for the shell. Next thing you want to do, unhide the building itself, get out of edit mode, Actually, you do have to flip the faces because right now they are facing inboard. So select the interior shell, enter edit mode, press tab, press A to select all the faces. Make sure you have face enabled, and then hold Alt and press N and flip. That will give you the everything you need, as in having perfect cuts for all the doors and all the windows right here. So this is how you do a shell without modeling all that much. It's just pretty much getting the um, what is it called, the contour. I don't know what's the pronunciation for it, of the building. Extrude, create an edge, extrude it, create the floor, and then create the walls, and then separate the windows and the doors from the main shell, and use that as a cutter for the shell that you just created. And the next step will be to texture, to partition this one and have rooms, right? And then texture it. But that's not what this video is all about. It's just creating the shell. If you want to, I'm going to show you how to create rooms, right? It's no biggie. So rooms as in walls, not the MLO itself. There is plenty of tutorials about creating MLOs. So we're going to be selecting the exterior and press H to hide it. And we can delete the windows in here. We do not need them anymore. And if you want to create rooms, let me switch the view from 15 to 75 again. And then we're going to be creating a add mesh cube. And then we're going to size it, item. So this is 2 meter by 2 meter by 2 meter. We can do 20 centimeter. This is going to be the thickness of the wall, right? You can do a 10 if you want. It's up to you how you want to do it. But I suggest you leave that. Don't get any smaller than 10 centimeters thick. And then we're going to resize the z-axis, the height. We're going to put in 5 meters, 500, maybe 7. And then we're going to be doing the y-axis, the width, which is going to be 33,000. And then we're going to be rotating this one. Make sure you're in a global view on the z-axis. So press R to rotate and press Z to tell Blender to rotate on Z only. Hold Control. And going to be minus 45 because that's how it's oriented. And you're going to be creating this kind of stuff in here. We're going to be placing, you already know if, well, how do you know how big you want a room, right? You just go to add cube. You know, by default the cube has it's 2 by 2. Well, at least for me that's how I set it up. And then rotate on Z, hold Control 45. And then if I move it along the wall, I know this is going to be 2 meters, right? How big is it going to be? How big you want to do it, right? Go to normal and hold Control Shift, hold Shift and press D to duplicate it on the X-axis. If you press X and keep, so it's gonna be 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. You want to make it 10 meters. That's gonna be where the limit is gonna be, right? Then take the plane, the wall that you just created, hold Control and snap it to the corner of the cube that you just created. Yeah, and you kind of know it's going to be 10 meters. If you want to do it again, just repeat the process. Minus 200. And then just Shift R to to redo the same action. It's gonna be so we got another 10, got a 10 by 10 setup in here, and select the wall, hold Shift and press D to duplicate it, and then press R and Z to rotate it on the Z axis. Hold Control and rotate it minus 90, and you can see that it's more or less actually doesn't have anything to do with that stuff. Gonna move it inward. You know it's gonna be a little over maybe 11 meters, like that. So we're gonna be splitting this interior into 4 rooms. Maybe you want to do it again in here. Shift D on the x-axis, hold Control. We know we're gonna have like a little bit of a hallway in here. Move it this way. Like so. So it's going to be 5 rooms, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, with the what was the cube once, select them one by one while holding Shift. 1, 2, 3. And hold Control and press J to join in a new geometry. And then select the shell, add modifier boolean, then get the eyedropper and select the what's supposed to be the balls. And then again, you have to have a difference, object cube, and if you want to self intersection hold tolerant, depending on how good your geometry is gonna work or is not gonna work. But you're gonna have to fix that later on. So we now we separated. We have walls. We have rooms, not walls. We're gonna create the walls for every single one of them. Switch back from 75 to 15 if you want, and you can see that we got in here a nice partitioning thing. Maybe you want to move this window this way. It's going to be up to you. But let's create a really clean topology so nobody lags while they are inside this piece of interior. So with the shell selected, press tab to enter edit mode, and then press number 2 to select edges. Select the edge at the bottom that's on this room, that's part of this room, and then the edge, hold Shift and select the edge at the top and press F. That will fill the selected area, right? And repeat. So hold, select the bottom, hold Shift, select the top, press F, and repeat. Select the bottom, that's part of the other room, select the top and press F. You can visually move inside like that. Bottom, top, F, and bottom, top, F. Bottom, top, F. It doesn't have to be in this order. You can select the top first and then the bottom, doesn't matter. So this is why it's important to keep a clean topology, because when you start doing this, you need this to work every single time without having to do additional modeling. F, and we have which one we have left. It's a bit hard to see from inside. This is done. What's going on in here? Leftover cubes, of course. All right, and we have if you see the reds while you're inside the room, that means you haven't finished the wall. So top, bottom, F. Move to the left or to the right to check that you actually have walls everywhere, like so. This is going to be the last one. And now you have rooms. But you only have cuts for the windows and for the main rooms, right? Probably you may want to eliminate some of the entrances. Let me unhide the shell. So because this kind of looks redundant in a way that why do I need three entrances? And it's kind of ridiculous, right? But that means we have to modify the exterior, and I don't have time to do that. But I'm going to show you how to create a hole to put a door in this place right here, so you can walk from one side to the other, from one room to the other room. So make sure you're not in edit mode, you're in object mode. Go to add, mesh, cube. Ignore the position of the cube. It's going to be spawned in the middle of the world, center of the world. Hold control, press press G, hold control and move the mouse into the corner right here. The cube that I just created, just name it door cutter with three T's, and kind of move it upward. You gotta find a door in game that works like a door and get the size of it, and you can resize this cube in a way that matches the width and the height and the thickness of the door that you're trying to, well, not the thickness because you have to go through both from room to room. So we're going to rotate this one on the Z axis, RZ, hold control, should be 45. And then let's resize this one. It looks more like a door, so press R and X, S, so not R, press escape if you've done that. So S and X, something like that, S and X, like that. Now if you, let's say this is exactly the door that you found, one of the doors in the game. This is exactly the size of what you're trying to place in this interior, right? Just duplicate it, right? So with the what's supposed to be the door selected, hold Shift, press D to duplicate it, and then move it on, let's say Y. Press Y on the keyboard, so the door only moves on the Y axis. It creates multiple doors, right, from room to room. And then D on the X, so move it this way. And then we're gonna rotate it on the Z, hold control, another 90 degrees. Then move it where you want to, where you plan on having a door from going from room to room, like that. You can hide the building now, hide H. And then you can select select one of the door cutters, hold shift and select the one on top. So select all three of them. And then if you want to actually see how it's going to be joined, hold control, press J to create one object of the out of all the for all the doors, right? Then select the building, the interior shell, go to Boolean, to modifiers, add a new Boolean, make sure the difference and all that stuff, it's exactly the way I did it. Click the eyedropper, select the door cutter, and then apply. Then select the door cutter once more and press delete. And you're going to be having access from one room to the other visually because the MLO is not done yet. So you can now select the shell again, press enter edit mode, press tab, and select the edges that make the left side or the right side depending on how you're looking at it, and press F to fill. And repeat until you have filled up the gap in here. F. There's better ways of doing it. For example, you can hold Shift and Alt, and you can select everything all around. I'm not certain where is right now on Blender. Let's see, edge. Yeah, bridge edge loop. So you can do it all at once. And let's find another one. I think we did 3. Yeah, this one right here. So we're going to be doing the bridge loop. Hold Shift and Alt and click the edge. And we'll select everything around, hopefully. And edge, bridge, edge. Oops. Looks like this one didn't do it. So we're going to do it manually. Hold Shift while selecting both edges and press F to fill. And we now have created five rooms, and every single one of them is accessible from somewhere. Well, except this one in the corner. But you got an idea. That's pretty much the tutorial. I hope you learned something. Usually I don't answer the comments unless I get a lot of comments, and the comments usually, hey dude, can you make a video on modding vehicles? Dude, this tutorial is about modeling and doing interiors. Why are you asking for vehicles on something that has nothing to do with the vehicles? So don't do that because I don't answer these comments on YouTube. All right, thanks for watching, and see you in the next time.